At 8:17 a.m. on January 21st, 2021, virtual meeting via Zoom. Sandy?
Joe Jasny,
Here.
Paul Neese,
Here.
Leonard Taylor,
Here.
all present.
Seeing that all is present, has everyone had a chance to read the meeting minutes from the last meeting on November 20th? And if so, what is your pleasure?
Everything is fine with me.
We need a motion.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes.
And a second.
I second.
Was
Leonard
that
Taylor.
Leonard?
Yes, Leonard Taylor, sir.
Okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, motion passes 3-0.
Okay, I don't believe we have any public participation. If not, we'll get into old business. At the November meeting, we discussed the fire contract. I'm getting an echo from somebody. Okay, I'm hearing my voice. Discussion of the fire contract for the MOU. Where does that stand?
Good morning, commissioners. Mike,
morning.
I'm Director of HR. We have the memorandum of understanding between the city of Twinsburg and the local firefighters union. We apologize, Dave Mastros is not in the office on today, so he has provided me this information to share with you. The MOU, as agreed upon, will allow the current captain's list to move forward for any promotions, the current list. And the membership has decided in regards to the MOU that we will still move forward with the promotional exam. And when the current list expires, it will be null and void at that point, and the and the new list will then take effect. So again, I'll repeat that we will move forward with the current captain's list as already established. And then once that list is exhausted, the new list from the promotional exam, which we will take place on next week, will go into effect. And that is the MOU. It will be signed on today by all parties.
Are there any questions?
Yes, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, Mike, Mr. Brown, was there any type of feedback on the weighted measures on the upcoming test? And would that affect, like the current listing, promotional list, since they were under the 50-50 rule?
No, there was no discussion from my understanding from Mr. Maestros or any pushback in regards to the weighted measures. We don't anticipate it to be any problems with us moving forward and making that change with the promotional exam that's scheduled for next week.
Okay, thank you. Will we receive a copy of that method of understanding by email?
Yeah, we can make sure once we have all the signatures, Dave will be the last to sign, as again, he's not in the office on today, but I'll make sure that we send this over to everyone tomorrow when he's back in the office, or as soon as he is back in the office, and we'll sign.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I have a question.
okay, there's Paul.
Just to be clear, the MOU states that they'll give the test, I believe, on the 25th of this month.
Correct. So the MOU states that the promotional list that's currently in place will remain effective until it expires in June. The test that is scheduled for next week will move forward and will be presented to the commission for approval from June 21st of this year. And till approval of the next list in 2023.
All right, so that's pretty much what we discussed the last meeting, right?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussions?
No.
On, Chief Morgan, the final plans for the promotional exam for the captains?
I spoke with the representative from the Ohio Fire Chiefs yesterday on the phone, and he is prepared to be here on Monday evening. He's planning to be here about 5 o'clock and administer the test, and then proceed from there. The plans are at this point that the test will be held in council chambers, and there's some sufficient room in there, and it's sufficiently remodeled that we can put up tables and chairs in there and be spaced and be relatively comfortable in that space doing the test. And then it is still our intent that the top 6 people from the written test will be moved on to the assessment centers, which will happen next month. And then obviously those results would be, hopefully the final results from all this will be certified by the March meeting. So that's the intent there.
Okay, and how many have signed up for this test?
There were originally 10 that signed up. 1 has withdrawn. So the list currently stands at 9. I am aware of a second person that is contemplating withdrawing from the test. So that's he's yet to decide whether he's going to sit for the test or not. So there should be 8 or 9 people show up Monday evening.
Okay. Any questions from the commission regarding the test? Leonard, Paul?
No.
Okay.
Could I ask who is going to be present for the test? Joe, will you be there?
Let me just look quickly here. Yes, I can be there.
Leonard? Will you be
Yes,
there?
I will.
And
Yes.
Paul, I assume you will not be there?
Yeah, I can't drive yet.
Okay, so the 2 commissioners will be present.
What time should we be there?
5:30?
Okay, thanks.
5:30.
I intend to be there as well.
Maybe I'll also be here just to kind of open things up. I know we are limited to the number of people we can have in council chambers. So I'll be here to kind of open things up, and then I'll leave, and then we can decide who'll collect the test, or I'll come back. It's totally up to the chief or the commission.
Good. All right, seeing no further old business, new business, the hiring procedures for civil service positions.
All right, so thank you again, and for allowing me this time on the agenda. So, as the new director of HR, I have sort of this obligation or kind of responsibility to review some processes and responsibilities in regards to HR and some things in regards to our hiring process. So I've met with Sandy, I've met with Chief Morgan in regards to what our current hiring process looks like. And so I want to talk through with the commission on how we can make our hiring process a little more efficient and effective moving forward from this current exam and how we're just allowing people to apply. So the city has purchased a software that's called Civic HR. Currently, some of our hires and most of our civil service hires do not go through that system, which makes it a little difficult on our end and primarily for Sandy to get that paperwork and those things out to those applicants. So I am in the process of revitalizing that hiring process, and I am just kind of bringing it to the commission's attention that one of the ideas and the main idea that I'm actually leaning forward with is to have all applicants apply through our civic HR system. What that will do, it will not change any processes in regards to the civil service, but it will allow us to kind of maintain all of our applicants in one place. When we move forward with hiring, whether they're full-time or part-time, we'll be able to basically move them through that system, send all of their new hire paperwork electronically to them. There will be fillable forms. They won't have to come into the office to fill these things out or to meet with me personally unless they have questions about things. And then we can kind of make it more streamlined. And so I wanted to process that idea out with the commission on today. One of the big things that we're looking for or looking at is the option when it comes into paying for your application. I know that's a big thing that has stopped in the past of why we couldn't move this electronically. So I'm diligently working on a way that we can accept payments electronically for applications instead of having Sandy be here for long periods of time or myself be here after hours, or make it where we set up individual hours where these are the only times we will accept application payments. So I just kind of want to get the commission's thought process in regards to that and how that will look. I'm going to design a process chart, which will show exactly what our current process looks like, and then what the new process looks like, and we'll send that out to the commission once I get some feedback on today. But again, this is just a way for us to streamline things, make them a little more efficient in the world of hiring, so that we can move a little quicker in regards to getting information out and allowing people to apply for our positions, including our civil service position.
Do you have a project target date in mind yet to have this up and running?
I'm not necessarily. Kind of in the first stages right now. Actually, no, I'm in probably the middle stages now of kind of trying to figure out the pay portion. So I think I have pretty much streamlined everything else. It's just how we will accept payment that has kind of got me a little stumped, but it won't have me stumped for long. So I'm actually looking to do this as quickly as possible. And if I had to throw a target date out there, I would say probably by the end of February, so that in case we have anything else moving forward, we can go ahead and utilize the new process in that aspect.
Very good. Now, I know this is kind of minute and maybe a little ridiculous, but on payment, me being guilty of using electronic funds most on everything, are you going to try to acquire a what do you call it? When someone uses a credit card, you always have to pay them a percentage. Are you going to maybe stick to strictly like electronic checks or debit cards, so the city's not incurring, even if it's only a 2%, that's still 2% going to someone else rather than in the city?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, my main priority is to make sure that the city does not incur any costs in regards to this process. That's the piece that I'm kind of really focusing on right now. Again, the option may be that we set individual times. So we know that most of our applicants for these positions do have quote unquote off days. And so maybe we set up those times and days, specific times and days for them to come to City Hall to make those payments, where again, we are not staying after hours to accept those payments, or having that happen where whether it's Sandy or myself having to be here to accept those payments, because we know we're really looking for applicants to come during that time. So we have a couple of different options out there, Mr. Husseini, and we'll move forward with what the best option is for the city.
Very good. Leonard, do you have any questions on that?
Yeah, just one concern and one suggestion. One concern is, and I understand with electronic and databases, it can be breached, and maybe jeopardize people's accounts. Just one, food for thought. And secondly, if there was just some type of like a Dropbox where people can make payments in City Hall, kind of like they do for sewer and water, I mean, for sewer bills, like if it's after hours, a person can drop a check or, something off. That'll go strictly, into City Hall and be applied towards their, application.
Absolutely. Again, that's another option that we're definitely taking a look at. Again, we don't want to incur any costs for the city. So if the electronic payment does that, then we will look at ways to not do that. But again, my thought process is just to streamline the process and make it as efficient as possible. So
Right.
that's definitely an option, Mr. Taylor, in regards to having service or put up Dropbox somewhere in the front doors of City Hall so that when they do come, they can drop their payment off. My only hesitation with that is most people like to have a receipt for if they're dropping off cash or something like that. And so, I think that we'll have to think about what that looks like if we do go that route and making sure that they do get receipts for their application if they do drop money off at the door.
Yeah, I was thinking, by checks only, usually that's a check only type situation when you have a Dropbox, no cash.
Absolutely.
Paul,
Thank you.
Paul, do you have anything for Mr. Brown?
No, sir. I think I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else regarding the new hiring procedures? Real good. We do have to admit, today's generation is they all have emails, they all have texting, they all have everything. So I myself send receipts for the VFW via email back to them when people pay us electronically. So I think, Mr. Brown, you're going to find many ways, hopefully, to streamline it to keep you and Sandy from being burdened by the late hours.
Yes.
Okay. Anything under miscellaneous? Leonard?
I have nothing.
Paul?
Nothing from me. Thank you.
Chief or Steve?
Yes, I do have another topic to just to bring up shortly here. As you're aware, we have had the opportunity to promote a number of lieutenants over in the fire department, and currently the standing list we have is has been emptied of candidates that have completed the whole process of written test and assessment center. We do still have 2 candidates that passed the written test but did not move on to the assessment center because we limited the assessment center to just the top 6 test takers. So I have talked with the Ohio Fire Chiefs who will be doing our assessment center for the captain's test, and they are willing and available to the night they do the captain's candidates to also run those 2 additional lieutenant candidates through an assessment center so we can add an assessment center score to the written score and have 2 more candidates that could be eligible for promotion to lieutenant. And as things stand right now, we do foresee the opportunity to promote at least 1 more lieutenant prior to the next scheduled promotional test for lieutenants, which will be next spring. So obviously, it's a little bit out of the ordinary. It's a pleasant surprise that we were able to promote ultimately 5 lieutenants off of this list. The 6th candidate retired from the department, so wasn't something we expected to happen. But as things turned out, we find ourselves in this position. So I just want to let you know that we'll be pursuing that option, unless, of course, this Civil Service Commission objects to that.
Leonard, do you have any questions or objections to that?
No.
Paul?
I don't, but do you need a motion from us to okay that?
That's a good question. It probably makes sense for the board, the commission to at least be on the record at this point saying it's okay with you. Quite honestly, we probably still need to go through the steps of checking with the unions to make sure it's acceptable to them as well. So this may ultimately generate another MOU. But yes, a motion from the commission would probably be appropriate.
Well,
I would,
Can I-
I'm sorry, I would recommend that we, before the motion is made, that we have that
Thank you.
conversation with the union. So
Yes.
that in case there are any issues or we do need to sign an MOU, we have that before the commission actually makes the motion to move forward. That would just be my recommendation.
I'm in agreement with you.
Okay. Paul, you also agree to that?
I do.
Okay. All right.
All right, that being the case, I think our timeline is still okay in that we'll obviously have another commission meeting next month in which we'll certify the written results from the captain's exam and decide which candidates will move on to the captain's assessment center. And certainly by that time, I think we would be able to address the issue with the lieutenants, with the union, and have that piece in place for the next meeting.
Very good.
Chief, I will take on, and Commission, I will take on that responsibility of having that conversation with Mr. Maestros and with the union in regards to what the ask is, and we'll have that information ready to go by the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further miscellaneous information or subjects to discuss? Sandy, are we pretty good?
I think we're good.
Okay. The next meeting scheduled for February 11th, 2021. Uncertain yet, Sandy, whether it'll be virtual or in person?
I think there's a good chance council chambers will be ready to go. It would just be kind of the pandemic, if we want to go virtual or not. But I think with the renovation done, we can easily space ourselves out to hold it in person.
Okay, because yeah, the council chambers obviously is going to be ready by the 25th for the test.
Well, it's not going to be completed,
Oh,
but we can make it work on the 25th.
well, there's only what, 8 of us usually, at attending. So I'm sure we can find 6 feet apart at least in masks. So,
Right.
okay. All right. Seeing no further business, do I have a motion to adjourn? Leonard?
Yeah, I move we adjourn.
Paul? Okay.
Leonard, I second. We adjourn.
All right.
And all in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
All
motion
right.
passes 3-0.
All right. Thank you very much. Don't worry about it, Paul. Don't get frustrated over this technology. It all works out in the end.